TRTA focuses on several issues that pertain to TRS annuitants. I know that you've done a survey with your members. Can you give me a little bit more information about what the top priorities of your members are?
Well, the great thing about TRTA is that our members tell us what their top priorities are. This is not a top-down organization. We conduct a survey. We ask them, what's most important? Clearly, from that survey, we know the most important thing to our members is the preservation of our traditional retirement plan, the defined benefit plan. The next most important issue to our members is keeping their health insurance program. Finally, and as important to many of our people, it is getting a pension increase and protecting the funding that the state legislature provides to the teachers' pension fund.
One of the issues that you mentioned as being really important to your members is the issue of defined benefit retirement plans versus alternative plan design. Can you explain that issue to me in a little bit more detail?
Now, first of all, let's clarify what a defined benefit is. A traditional retirement plan, this is a plan that provides a benefit to a retiree for the rest of their life. That benefit generally doesn't change. It is not dependent on stock market returns. When you retire, you will have defined for you what your monthly pension benefit will be, and that benefit can never be taken away.
Okay, so you've defined what a defined benefit plan is. What about other retirement plans? How is a defined benefit plan different from alternative retirement plans?
It's a great question. The truth is, the defined benefit plan is under attack by people who have political goals in mind. Many times they don't care about the facts relating to the Texas teacher retirement system. Their goal is to change the defined benefit plan into something more like a 401k plan. There's a lot of differences between a 401k plan for educators and maybe a 401k plan that we would see in the private sector. The truth is, the private sector had defined benefit plans until lots of changes went in place and those defined benefit plans were taken advantage of. That generally doesn't happen in the public sector because the laws that govern defined benefit plans for educators and state workers and firefighters, they're different than the laws that govern those for the private sector. And this movement to change the defined benefit plan is really based on a private sector model being applied to the public sector. And it really doesn't fit. And it doesn't fit for a lot of reasons. But their goal is to take a 401k style plan, what we sometimes call a defined contribution plan, and implement that for educators. There are other kinds of plans. There are plans called hybrid plans or cash balance plans. The bottom line is they're all more costly and less efficient than what we are already using our defined benefit plan.
This sounds like a complicated issue. As a member of TRTA, how can I address this issue with my legislator?
Yeah, it is very complicated. It's made complicated because there's so much rhetoric and spin and misinformation about the Texas teacher retirement system. The first thing that I would like to say to anybody watching this video, there is no crisis with the teacher retirement system defined benefit plan. We're 83% funded. We have $112 billion in the pension fund. We pay out about $6 billion a year. Last year, the teacher retirement system made over $15 billion on their investments alone. There is no crisis. The teacher retirement system is really an economic stabilizer for this state. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that come back to the state in revenue through taxes. We talk about, break this down to the local level. Our pensioners, our members, our retired educators in communities still go to coffee shops when there's an economic downturn. They still buy groceries. They still purchase a new car, or they go to the doctor. The fact is, without the teacher retirement system over the last few years, and our 300,000 retirees still living life and putting money back into the economy, things would be a lot worse off in Texas. So there is no crisis. It is an economic engine, it's an economic stabilizer, and it's a great benefit for all Texans.
The second issue you mentioned was about pension increases and pension funding. Why are these issues important to your members?
Again, these are very complex issues. Let's talk about pension increases first. Since 2001, anyone retired under the teacher retirement system has not received a cost of living increase. There have been some adjustments to protect health insurance premiums. There was one supplemental payment that was paid, but a cost of living adjustment takes several things into account. One of the most important are the costs of goods and services and how inflation is increasing those costs over time. And in the last 11, almost 12 years, the Texas legislature has not authorized an increase in the benefits of our retirees in the state of Texas. That means that in 2012, our people are still paying for goods and services for what they cost in 2012, but they're using dollars that are based back on what they were earning in 2001. So let's take an important part of any person's life, gasoline, for example. Since 2001, the cost of gasoline has gone up 247%. And our retirees are still trying to make ends meet on wages that they were getting from back in 2001. There's been some consideration. As I mentioned before, we received a supplemental payment. Very helpful. At the time that our retirees received it, it was a great benefit. We may need another supplemental payment until we can get to the point that the retirement system is able to fund a real cost of living increase. But we should not forget our retirees when they retire.
If I wanted to talk to my legislator about pension increases, how should I approach the subject?
This is a tough issue to deal with. It's tough because the legislature has been really committed to incremental increases in funding to TRS, but they really haven't committed the kind of revenue necessary to make the system eligible to provide a real cost of living increase. We want to work with the legislature as much as we can. But for a lot of our members, this issue is about life and death. I mean, we are talking about being able to pay for medicine, or food, or heat, or electricity. These things are real. And sometimes we lose the fact that our members, they didn't make a lot. They provided a great public service for 30 or 40 years. Yes, they have a retirement benefit, but they're living on fairly small incomes. That's difficult for any of us. And the most important thing that our members can do in trying to communicate with legislators is not necessarily get so technical about it and explain budget scenarios and funding levels and actuarial soundness. Just tell that legislator, I can't pay for my bills after 40 years of being an educator, and I don't know where else to turn. You're my only hope to try and get an increase in my retirement benefit, because only the Texas legislature can provide a way to make that happen.
Why is the issue of health insurance so significant to TRS annuitants?
The teacher retirement system of Texas offers a health insurance program to retirees called TRS Care. This program started about 20 or 25 years ago, and it has been a major part of the retirement benefit plans of hundreds of thousands of retirees over the last 20 or 25 years. TRS Care is a benefit that everybody pays something for. It is not a free ride health insurance program. Retirees pay a premium. Active school employees are paying a payroll tax to help subsidize the cost of this health insurance program. School districts are paying a payroll tax to help subsidize the cost of this health insurance program. The state legislature does put money into this health insurance program. Last session we had a really difficult revenue session. Like most every state, revenues in Texas have been down because of economic transitions, the recession that we've all experienced in this country. And so the legislature decided that they needed to reduce their funding obligation to the TRS Care program, and it cut it about 50% in one of the years of the biennium. And that is it's a really difficult part of keeping our health insurance program funded. Anytime we cut funding, these costs continue to grow, and we're going to have to pay for those benefits in some way. The TRS Care program does have a reserve fund. When the legislature reduced funding for the TRS Care health insurance program, we had to use that reserve fund to really cover the costs of the health insurance program. We had about $700 million in the reserve fund. Projections are showing that by the time the legislature comes back in 2013, that reserve fund will be down to the less than the $100 million status, and by the time that the next biennium is over, it may be as much as $700 million in the red. Health insurance is extremely costly, and those costs happen quickly. So anytime we cut funding one year, it grows exponentially every year that we don't restore that funding. The legislature has worked to keep TRS Care premiums from going up. Sort of a trade-off, knowing that we couldn't do anything on the benefit side with the monthly payment, but we're not going to hurt them more by raising premiums on retirees to cover the health insurance costs. The first thing that needs to occur is that legislators need to restore the funding status of the TRS Care health insurance program. This last session, it was 1% of the aggregate teacher payroll in 1 year of the biennium. It dropped down to 0.5%. When we go back into session, our message is raise that funding back to 1% of the aggregate teacher payroll in both years of the biennium. The legislature should also be ready to incorporate any supplemental cash that may be necessary to keep this health insurance program going. It's vital to our members' financial security to maintain this health insurance program, keep those premiums low so that our members can stay well and so that they will stay off other state services that are far more costly.
Tim, you mentioned the top 3 priorities of your members today. Are there any other issues you can think of that are going to be significant for the upcoming legislative session?
Well, anytime that you have a pension system that has over $112 billion in that retirement system that's guaranteeing benefits for people not only today but 30 years from now, we're going to have other issues. We often talk about issues dealing with the TRS board. So there are plenty of issues, and our members can always stay up to beat on what those issues are through our phone call service. They can call the office, as I said before. We have a great inside line. It's an email newsletter. If you like Facebook, we have Facebook. If you like Twitter, we can do Twitter. We're all about communicating with you.